Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we can all hear me loud and clear. You're welcome to the second edition of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development's Youth Town Hall meeting. The meeting is to begin at 12 noon, or was to begin at 12 noon, but we are giving all our young Nigerians a few minutes to join us. This is a dialogue between our leaders and our young people. This is an opportunity for everyone to discuss what exactly we see as a better Nigeria and steps that can be taken to reach that. I would beg of everyone to please ensure that we are able to articulate our responses or comments or requests in a very orderly and respectful manner. That is very important. At this point, we have the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development with us, Mr. Sunday Dare, who will give us a few opening comments till we begin the live discussions. Everyone would know, well, not everyone, but a lot of people will be given an opportunity to speak to the minister, and we will have the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon, and Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, will be joining us. So, Honourable Minister, sir, you may wish to unmute yourself as you speak with our young Nigerians.
Thank you very much, Kemi. I hope you can hear me. Good afternoon, Kemi. I hope you can hear me.
The good ones are very expensive, but they are actually.
And let me welcome everyone here this afternoon, the Nigerian youth, but also especially my colleague ministers, the Honorable Minister of State Labour, Festus Keyamo, SAN, and also the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon. I want to thank you very much for joining on this second virtual town hall meeting and engagement with the Nigerian youth that arose out of the EndSARS protest. We held the first one last week, Friday, about this time, with about 145 youth joining. And we ended up spending 3 hours instead of 2 hours. The engagement was with the police authorities, represented by Frank Umba, the false PRO, and myself. And we had quite a number of our youth speak up on some of these issues. We have gone from that meeting to actually process and send some of those views to the right authorities, including the presidency. And in fact, on Monday this week, when I met with the president, I spent about 40 minutes with him. I was able to give him a lot of feedback and insight into the aspirations, into the issues and desires of our youth. And we know clearly that going forward, we're going to see the programs concerning our youth accelerated, deepened, and supported in terms of training, that is training into enterprise, in terms of empowerment, as the case may be, in terms of creating multiple level of opportunities for our youth. As we speak, there are 25 youth-focused programs scattered in about 7 ministries and 9 MDAs. We're collating all that together, and we're going to provide a pathway to onboard most of our youth. We think information and communication is critical. Most of our youth don't know about these programs. Only 2 of them are with this ministry, but this ministry, henceforth, we aggregate these programs, create a clear pathway so that our youth can choose from these 25 programs which one they want to apply for, and we'll make sure that we facilitate their entry or make sure that they benefit from this. The EndSARS protest, again, it bears restating. I brought to the fore some of the critical issues. One is police brutality, harassment, extrajudicial killings, extortion. But beyond that, it has opened a prism to agitate for some other key things, apart from the reforms in the police force, apart from the need to prosecute and bring to justice bad police officers, apart from improving the welfare of police officers, apart from creating a stakeholder forum that will, on a continuous basis, interface with government to make sure that all these demands and reforms are sustained. Those processes are ongoing, but also a couple of other issues that have come up. There are issues that affect the larger portion of Nigerians, and government is also looking into that. Various levels of governance have been reactivated, have been activated by President Muhammadu Buhari. Ministers, as I speak, each minister is on its way back to their various states based on the directive from Mr. President to engage with the youth, engage with the political leaders, and have a meeting with the governors, as the case may be. Reforms in the police are ongoing. We have seen quick step actions. Unlike in the past, the Police Service Commission is working. 36 police officers have been retired. Several others are facing courtroom trials. We've seen governors, almost 11 of them have set up judicial panels of inquiry involving youth and their membership. We've never had this kind of response. And the time for change has come. I want to thank once again the courage of our youth, our very articulate youth who mobilized, who organized, and who led this protest. I also want to say up front that for those lives that were lost, I want to just share my condolences and the pain, because ordinarily these lives ought not to have been lost. We want to condole with their families, with their friends, with their relatives. And I think that these ones will make sure they get justice. Those responsible for these acts that has led to their death must be brought to book. And I think collectively, we must explore every means of conversation and engagement to get the change that we want. Today, this second virtual meeting provides us such opportunity. On our part, we hope that every Friday going forward, we're going to have ministers come on this platform. A few times we're going to have civil society people, but by and large, we're going to have the youth also drive this. On our part, we'll listen for most of the times, provide explanation and answers, but also take notes and guidance from what the expectations of our youth are, so that those can be input into the policies that we're going to have. So today, with the ministers that are joining me, myself, we hope to provide some insight into what's ongoing. We've had the president broadcast yesterday. We've had his words about the youth haven't spoken and haven't been heard resonate. There's a commitment on part of Mr. President to make sure that our youth are engaged, our youth are supported, and he has a willing heart as the president, as the father, to even help this time around to accelerate what they need. But by and large, the larger Nigerian agenda is to make sure that we have the fundamental infrastructure and institutions that we need for any 21st century society to survive. So once again, I thank you all, and I hope that we're going to have a robust and decent conversation this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir. Your words are very soothing to us. And we do hope that today's engagement will bring up will answer a lot of necessary questions. At this point, I'd like to invite Honorable Minister Dame Pauline Tallen to please give us a comment on this particular topic. Dear Ma, I've asked you to unmute yourself. You may wish to. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, my dear daughter, and I want to acknowledge and commend the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports for his kind and soothing words and for his engagement with our dear sons, the youths of Nigeria. I salute all the youths of Nigeria, and I want to reaffirm to you that all mothers, I'm speaking on behalf of all mothers of Nigeria, that our hearts are with you. We share in this unfortunate incident that has happened. You came out for a genuine cause. You've had my press release day for yesterday and yesterday. And I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart that the best way in every bad situation is to engage more in dialogue. I'm happy Mr. President has lent his voice and appealed to you last night. With this engagement with the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, and I representing the mothers of the nation, I believe that this will strengthen you, encourage you, and take it from us that all that Mr. President has said, he will fulfill it. The first strike on the 11th, 12th, immediately the 5-point agenda was presented to him, he acted promptly. It's unfortunate that other rooms and other people from wherever that don't mean well for this country try to hijack the genuine cause that you were presenting to government. And that led to this unfortunate instance where we have lost very, very vibrant youths, great Nigerians that would have contributed very meaningfully to this nation. I quickly accepted, as we've been talking with my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, to join you in solidarity so that we can continue and engage in this dialogue, because dialogue is just the best way to address any crisis situation. And I want to reassure you that Mr. President is a true father. He feels your pains. All of us are really, really taken aback with the unfortunate instance that has happened in Lagos, even Abuja, Jos, and Edo. We pray that Nigeria will never and never again witness these unfortunate incidents. I am with you fully all the way. We are here to ensure that you, being the leaders of tomorrow, will listen to the words of reason, will listen and obey the clear words of Mr. President and all that the Minister of Youth and Sports has been engaging you in, so that you can reason and together we can forge a better course for this country. This country belongs to all of us, and you are the future hope of tomorrow. There will be no Nigeria without our youths, because you are the ones that will take over from us. We are handing over the batons to you, but we want you to be of good character and address issues appropriately to the benefits of all Nigerians. You are the future hope. We are with you. We feel the pains. We regret and we condemn it in its totality. The loss of lives and what happened at Lekki 3 days ago. We condemn it in its totality, and I'm with you in solidarity as a mother, and to reassure you that this will never, by the grace of God, it will never, never happen again. Mr. President has already assured us that the matter will be looked into, and whoever is found will be appropriately dealt with. Once again, accept my condolences, accept my reassurance that we stand with you to ensure that justice is done in all fairness and with all the so many intervention programs Mr. President has outlined in the various ministries and under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It has never, in the history of Nigeria, there's no government that has put out programs intervention programs to support and encourage the youth, as this administration has done. And we continue to do it because you are the future hope. The mothers of Nigeria are with you, and I reassure you of this, our position, and I'll stand with you. Once again, I thank you very much for listening, and I pray that we'll keep engaging more on this dialogue to the betterment of all youths and Nigerians. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our mother, Madam Dame Pauline Tallen, the Honorable Minister of Youth, the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs. At this point, I'd like to call on Mr. Festus Keyamo, who is the Minister of State for Employment and Labor. Please, Mr. Keyamo, you may wish to unmute yourself at this point. Hello, sir. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, sir.
So can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have the floor now, sir.
All right. I missed the better part of the introduction because I think the network is not too good. But I suppose I'm going to give some kind of goodwill message now. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. You're correct.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You're correct, sir.
First, good afternoon, Nigerian youths. Welcome to this platform to be with you this afternoon. The first thing I want to do is to commiserate with all of those families, friends who lost their loved ones in during the recent protest across the country. Heartfelt condolences to the families, and we pray that the departed ones find peace wherever they are. We also want to thank the Nigerian youths, the ones who decided to be peaceful in their protests. We want to thank them for speaking up on behalf of all of us. I was one of those in government. If you look at my thread, my Twitter handle, and the thread of some of my posts, I was one of those who, first of all, in government, encouraged the youth to voice out their disaffection by peaceful protest. Peaceful protest is a right guaranteed in our constitution, and nobody can take that away from you. Me sitting down here, I'm a product of several protests. I'm a product of civil society, and I'm sure you know that. I'm also a product of the human rights community. So in a way, I challenge Sunday Dare on the lighter side that I'm the true representative of the streets, the people on the streets in cabinet. So I want to say that you have one of your own in cabinet who can look after you, who can look at your back, and I will continue to play that role. My friend and my brother Sunday Dare is also a product of that school of thought. So we want to say, first of all, that the initial reason for the protest, which is an end to police brutality and a reformation of the police. The president and commander-in-chief of this country is the real leader of the EndSARS movement. I want to tell you that, believe it or not, the President Muhammadu Buhari, is the actual leader of the EndSARS movement, in the sense that the president has been committed to police reforms even before this protest started. The president, like no other president in the past, had decided on his own to overhaul the police force, even before the youth began to speak out. Don't forget that there was, the president encouraged and signed into law the Police Reform Act. The president also, about 2 years ago, substantially raised the salaries of policemen, far more than what they were receiving before. All these things are on record. The president also, in his wisdom, signed into law the Police Trust Fund. That is a fund to raise monies, especially, away from the normal budgetary allocations, raise a special fund to cater for the police. The president has been a victim of the police, has been a victim of police brutality. If you remember that when he was in opposition sometime in 2002, the president was tear gassed. He was in ANPP then as an opposition leader. The ruling party at that time, the same ruling party now that are trying to play holier than thou, they sent policemen to tear gas himself and Chuba Okadigbo, who was his running mate at that time. They tear gassed them at a gathering. The president, inhaled a dose of tear gas on that occasion. So the president has been a victim of police brutality, like many of us. And so you cannot say that the president is someone who is aloof or who is not concerned about the reforms of the police. So we want the youths to trust this government. We want the youths to trust the president. We want the youths to know that the president means well. He is doing it from the bottom of his heart. Like he said yesterday during his speech, his address to the nation, the president said, look, that he voluntarily, quickly accepted the demands of the youth because this is a democratic government that will respond promptly to the cries of Nigerians. It's a democratic government. Even there were other voices in some other parts of the country to say SARS should not be disbanded. But the president, in his wisdom, decided to say, look, this is the right way to go, despite pressures from other sides not to disband SARS. Give him that credit. Just give him that credit that he decided to take that step. So as this discussion progresses, we will delve into other areas, but I want to make this as a preliminary comment. These are comments as preliminary comments to trust the president, trust his government, trust the sincerity of this government to address police reforms. I know that there's a trust deficit between government and the people, but that has always been in the past. It has always been in the past. Give this president a chance to do what he said he wants to do. And I think we'll all be better off for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, Minister of State, Labor and Employment. At this point, I'd like to call on Mr. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, Bafia Saleh, who is a public relations analyst, to give us a few words on his perspective on all that has been going on. Mr. Bafia Saleh. You may wish to unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honorable ministers, my young Nigerians, welcome. I'm here not representing anyone. I'm here to be neutral and to tell both sides the truth. And the fact is this EndSARS protest was a welcome development, but the ending was not what we wanted. The loss of life and destruction, it was very, very, very unfortunate. The ministers, I'm here actually to tell you that you need to do more. For 5 years, you have been saying we'll do this and that. The young people in Nigeria want you to do more action than talk. The unfortunate events of the last week is something that we wouldn't want to be repeated in history of this country. Both government and the protesters made some mistakes, and I hope that in the near future, these things will not happen again. For the fact that I commend the government on accepting the 5 demands of the protesters. At the same time, it was unfortunate that it was until yesterday that the president spoke to the young people. They've been asking, and it took the former vice president, the former president, and many people to get the president to talk. You cannot be begging the president to talk to you when you have voted for him. So I think we should in the near future, when something like this, I think dialogue is the way forward, and speaking faster is better than to wait until things turn into catastrophe like what has happened. Second of all, I was part of Occupy Nigeria. We organized it in 2012. The way we went was different than what EndSARS protesters went. We had one demand, and we didn't change the demand. So one of the major mistakes the end protesters did was moving the goalpost. You cannot say you have 5 demands and we agree on, and the government agrees on the 5 demands, and then you say, no, you have 20 demands. Second of all, it's a good thing not to have leaders so that they cannot be hijacked. From experience, I know what we experienced in Occupy Nigeria. A former senator and the Nigerian former senator and some people collected money. We didn't find out until after we finished the protest and everything. Both the opposition and the government were financing people. So you will find people trying to infiltrate you if you have leaders. But at the same time, even in war, after the war, you have to come to the negotiation table and discuss. So you cannot say that. It's very naive for the EndSARS movement to say that we don't have leaders and we don't have representatives. If you don't have leaders, you should have representatives to represent you to discuss with government. But there's no way you can say that you have demands and you are protesting and say at the same time, say you don't have representatives to talk to the government. So who are you going to talk to? Who would the government talk to? So really, there's a lot of work to do on both sides. The youth have to reorganize themselves and the government have to be sincere. Nigerians in general, the ministers, you can convey this to His Excellency, the President. His speech was not enough. They are not satisfied and they're not happy. One fact is, the President for a week has asked the governors to set up committees. And they said, I heard in the news that a committee was set up in the government yesterday, but he did not mention it. Who are the members of the committee? Are young people part of it? Who did you involve in the committee that investigating these issues that happened? So there's a lot of things. That Honorable Minister, you have to do. You met the president early this week, and when you met him, have you discussed? Yes, you had a town hall meeting yesterday, but how many youth have you discussed with? What did you discuss with the president? You're supposed to come out and tell the young people that this is what I discussed with the president, or you told them this is what I told the president, and this is your grievances, and this is what the president told us. Yes, you had a president, but even from my own knowledge, I know even APC young people are complaining and have been complaining for the last 5 years. So there's need for dialogue. There's a lot to be done. So I'll end it here for other people to talk, and then maybe later on I'll also say a few more things.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bafa Saleh. I've heard a few people are unable to join because we've reached maximum capacity, but more people keep joining. If you would like to tell everyone that they can join via the ministry's Facebook and also a YouTube link that has been shared on Twitter. So if you go to the ministry's Twitter account, you can share those links with your friends. We need as much of a robust conversation as possible. At this point, I would call on David Ibrahim, who is, I'm just trying to locate him. So we'll call on Ambassador David Ibrahim, who's a youth and community development consultant. Mr. David Ibrahim, I am trying to find you so that you can unmute yourself and speak to us about your perspective. Have you found it? Okay, so you may wish to unmute yourself now, Mr. Ibrahim.
All right. Thank you very much. And I want to say this is a timely platform. And I want to say a big thank you to the Honorable Minister for this proactive response. And I would suggest that this should be the beginning of several communication and conversation in a macro, micro dimension. And I pray this conversation today will be a starting point for something big in Nigeria. I also want to thank the Honorable Minister, Mother Pauline Tallen, for being a part of this. When I saw you here, I was a little bit comfortable because you have the heart of the mother. I pray to be brought to conversation. I would want to illustrate very strong points. What started in Nigeria in the last few weeks is something, if not properly managed, children unborn will suffer from it. I want us all to tread with caution. Both the youths, the government, and every stakeholder. There is a temptation to speak as patients. There is a temptation to speak as people that have been wounded. What started a few weeks back is a turning point for Nigeria. And honorable ministers, I am going to make some few recommendations, which we are also going to send to you formally, physically. What happened on the streets of Lagos, Abuja, and across Nigeria was like a baby, a newborn baby born that cried out for the first time. And they said, yes, a baby has been born. After that cry, the next 2 years, not just cry, the baby speak intelligently, articulately. At this point, Nigerian use a pass mark. For the first time, we have worked and our voices have been heard. It was not a perfect process. It's not a complete process. It's possibly not over. But at this point, we would like to request that a new protocol for communication is opened. Number one, I said a new communication protocol. Number two, a new response protocol. Nigeria as a country has changed. If what used to take 3 days to respond, we need to cut it down to 3 hours. I say it again. If there need to be a response, before now it used to take 3 days, if we can cut it down to 3 hours. We need to develop a new model for communication, of which we are going to send a proposal to all the stakeholders on this platform, such that when somebody is aggrieved in his heart, that grievances should not be there for 10 years. Look for a way for it to be ventilated. Honorable Minister, sir, Minister of Sports especially, sir. Hello, sir. I hope you're getting I don't know if you're getting me, sir. What transpired recently is a function of clustered, congealed emotions. They've been suppressed. I had the privilege of traveling around every state in Nigeria in running trainings. When I hear young people talk, I keep saying something is about to happen, and it has started. From henceforth, we will send a proposal on a communication document where people can express themselves and take off the burden, the emotions that have been congealed inside. And those emotions, if they are not properly managed, they can lead to other things. Secondly, our response protocol. We are developing a platform where government with the youths can do speedy responses. What takes us 3 days to respond, we can cut it down. We can cut it down to 3 hours if possible. Now, at this point, if this is done, the average Nigerian youth mindset has been shifted in the last 3 to 4 weeks. We are a new set of human beings. I conclude by saying, people are wounded, people have been taught at different points. What is the way forward? And I want to say with every sense of honesty in my heart, we are intelligent, emotional, and we want to live in peace. That is why Nigeria has been able to weather the storm of the decades. It's because people want peace. Colleagues that will express themselves, we're going to do it in a very rational, logical manner. We will keep protesting, but our protest has reached the point where we don't even need to take class. Let's talk with the relevant stakeholders. Honorable Minister, I want to thank you because I did a background check on you before I came to this platform. I informed that you're a listening, proactive person. I know it's need to pick out people in this chaos right now, but we want to hold you to your word, some things you have said, and we trust you will not let the Nigeria. I represent thousands of youths in this country, and they are monitoring every word I say right now. And as you see it, the average Nigerian youth, you cannot be bought over at this point. We are fighting for our destiny. We are fighting for our children yet unborn, and we will do it with everything in our hearts. But once again, I commend this platform. Please, if possibly next week, let us have another platform. It might not be online like this. It could be in a cluster formation across Nigeria. We will lend the helping hand to help this happen. And if you increase the speed of response, watch what will happen to Nigeria. I say it again, speed of response and new communication protocol. Response protocol, communication protocol. God bless you, Honorable Minister. Let me allow other people to speak. Giving the opportunity again, I'll cap it up. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador David Ibrahim. Everyone can see that there are comments in the comment section, so you can leave your comments. Everyone, I'd like to remind us that this is a dialogue for us to get results. So it's very important we ask the right questions in the right manner in order to get the right results. Now that we've had 2 gentlemen speak, I'd like to move to Learntor Mercy. Learntor Mercy, if you would wish to unmute yourself now, we would like to hear what you have to say. Thank you. You've not, brilliant. There we go.
Thank you so much. I stand on existing protocols so I don't waste everybody's time. I want to say personally that Nigerian, my heart bleeds, truly bleeds for what has happened in the last couple of days. And the international representation equally, it really does break my heart personally. But one thing is clear. One thing is clear. From all of the situation that has occurred in the last few days is the fact that it has exposed major gaps that we have chosen to ignore for years. COVID exposed the gap of our healthcare system. This unrest and the demand by the youth, by Nigerian youth, is equally spoken to the exposure of our security apparatus at our inability to converse and have a decisive solution that can change this country's narrative. But one thing is equally clear, that as Nigerians, we are very emotional. For the life of me, I don't understand the need for destruction of properties. These are same Nigerians that own these businesses, and they are my brothers, they are my sisters, they are people's cousins, killing of police officers. As much as I don't stand for police brutality, I think there's something fundamentally wrong, and that speaks to our education, our failure for our educational system. And this is equally very key. So I'm just going to make a few recommendations. The last time I was here, can you shut that door, please? The last time I was here, I talked about a 9-year-old, because I started training some young teenage children in coding. A 9-year-old was able to code, create animated games, and I didn't have to break my back. Many of the parents' testimonial were, wow, mercy, I thought I would have to help my children navigate through these waters, but that has not been the case. Indeed, I didn't have to do any of those. I was able to show these children their potential, help them and giving them opportunity to express. So my honorable minister and every young person that is on call, we are all influential leaders. We are all change makers. How can we work with the government? I say today, I've said it every time I'm on channels or any of the TV station. I've said the government cannot help us. It's not because they don't want to. They are inundated. They don't know where to start from because the rot started several years ago. So this is a problem that we have to collectively, can you shut that door? That we have to collectively come together to find some common ground. And it starts with conversation, it starts with dialogue. And there's a lot of disconnect in terms of gap, like this Zoom call. Why are we having minimum capacity of 100? I'm a digital expert. Even as my training, I have over 500 capacity. People should not be locked out of Zoom. It should be open, pay for the larger capacity. This is part of the gap. I teach Agile, I train coding, I teach digital marketing. We need the right people to work with the government. Prefer solution that can get to the young people. Our schooling system is a sham. The reason Asia is successful today is because they start training their children from age 4. I say this categorically, you can go and research from age 4 about things that can change their life. They will have competitive edge. I currently have a training of Agile digital transformation. All the training students that participated on it, I recorded 95% pass. I don't talk the talk, I walk the walk. We need people that will collaborate with the government. How can we support you? How do you want to reach out? I'm not saying reach out to people that are just noise makers, people that can make solutions. Personally, I have a growing community of 1,000 people that I support on a regular basis. We need to come together to a round table. This conversation is needed, is timely. We need to have this on a regular basis. It's not because of NSAS protests. It has to be ongoing. So you can fish those that can work with the Ministry of Youth and Sport to get the right knowledge, the right training. I have partnered with 2 international organizations that is certifying. I have from my team over 5 people that are working with UK companies. One of them is a board advisor. So there's a major problem. If we don't get round to a table and start talking about what we have done, look at the disgrace of the palliative that people were going into the warehouse to go and hijack to feed their family. Why was that in the warehouse? There is a problem. Because we can't solve it alone, you need the right people to work with government. It is time to open our door. It is time to open our channel. It is time to talk with the right people that are with the right solution that can help move this country forward. Government alone. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mercy. We truly appreciate. Thank you so much. I would let everybody know, as I've said before, there is a YouTube and a Facebook link. If you invite your friends to join via YouTube and Facebook, that way we can accommodate thousands and thousands of Nigerians, not by having 500 or 1,000 people. We want as many people as possible to be involved in the conversation. All the comments are being taken from both the Facebook and the YouTube and brought to this platform for us to keep on talking. At this point, I'd like to invite somebody who is below 30 years old to come and speak to us. Out of the number of about 100 of us that are currently on this particular platform, I only have 4 hands raised. So I will speak, yes, Philosopher King, I can see your hand, and Joy Bethram, I hope I got your name correctly. We will come to you any minute now. I would once again like to remind all of us that this dialogue is for us to bring forward what I won't call it demands, but how we feel we can provide a better Nigeria together. I do like what Mercy said about how can you help? How can we help each other or how can we help both both groups, both our leaders and we, the young people? How can we come together and help to build a better Nigeria? That's what this conversation is all about. So I'd just like to remind us of that. Philosopher King, I will be unmuting you now. So you can also give us your comments as to what you feel we could do towards having a better Nigeria. Philosopher King, please unmute yourself.
Okay, I stand on the existing protocol as well. Hope, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm standing on the existing protocol, and I want to appreciate this type of setting. It's a very good one, and I think this is another development that is coming after the protest. So I think the protest or the protesters are surely winning. So they should know that they are winning. So it's a good step. Thank you for that. So my own take is this. There is a competition. There's a competition going on between government and private parastatals. Government and private organization. There's a competition now. And the only way we can save Nigerians is to make the Nigerian thing working. Nigerian school now, Nigerian government schools, you can see that the competition between government schools and private schools is so high that private schools are getting more hands. And if private schools are doing it, it seems as if government are not doing anything. Government hospitals versus private hospitals. Look at that as well. If we are not seeing those impacts from government hospitals, it will seem as if government are not doing anything. So I would like us to go back to this competition, look at how private organizations will come and learn from government organizations, how private organizations will equally be behind government organizations. So that is exactly government will be doing, but because the competition is so high, the masses will not see what government are doing. That is the first instance I want to also bring out. The next one is this. You see, the issue of communication, the issue of information dissemination is so low, And because it's so low, we only give information, we don't give more of modalities. Like the president's speech now, he mentioned all what he has done for the youth. But before man and God, when I saw about 25 benefits or opportunities for the youth, I was so marveled that the youth are not, they don't even know what is happening. They don't know what is happening. So sometimes they will equally know, but the modalities of getting those things sometimes is hard. Sometimes some people don't want to even go through that rigorous process. So, and sometimes there's nobody to call for help. If, for instance, I'm going through an internet to subscribe to any of those benefits and I couldn't get it, I should have somebody to call and immediately they'll answer, okay, do it this way, or go to Cyber Cafe, this is how to do it here, this is how to do it here, or government have a point where everybody will be going to do such things. In my village now, I know there's no any point of, okay, you want to know about Empower, you want to know about this, you want to know about that, they are not there.
About those programs that the government has in place for young people, they are not being communicated to the young people in certain areas as well as we should be. So we would work with you after this conversation to see how you can assist us in disseminating this information to where the information needs to get to. So after this conversation, I will reach out to you personally and see how we can work together to ensure that we do this together. So thank you so much.
I'm very ready. I'm very ready.
I'd like to call on Joy. Joy, I hope I'm getting your name right. Bathem Joy? I'm going to try to unmute you now. So Joy, tell us your comments on how you feel we can create a better Nigeria for you. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you very much. And yes, you did get my name right. Good day, everybody. Just going straight into this, we need to first realize and reaffirm what exactly it means to be Nigerian. A whole lot of us youth, I am a 300 level student of the University of Maiduguri that grew up in the north. A whole lot of us do not understand what it is to be Nigerian anymore, because there's clearly a divide between what we've been told all our lives, our national anthem, our pledge. Everything is just different. Apart from this, there is a huge gap. We're not just looking at protesters here. We're looking at a mental health pandemic that is soon going to occur, because all of these things are festering. All of these are wounds that have not been spoken out for long. So as the government is also looking forward to being open, more open in communicating with youth, they should also make provisions too for the mental health sector. We currently do not have a mental health bill that is working, because that the present one is archaic and something that has been made for decades ago. So please, that is my contribution today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. Your comments have been noted, and we will definitely, at the end of this call, reach out to you and see how we can work with you to ensure that all of these things that you said are implemented, and to ensure that each of us, thank you, Joy. I really, really appreciate your Sorry, thank you. Somebody just told me that I'm muted. Thank you so much for that. I was talking away there. So Joy, yes, thank you so much for your contributions. We really, really appreciate everything that you've said, and we will be working with you to ensure that we implement everything that you've said. And at this point, I'm looking for young persons within this conversation to speak up and give us their comments. There are a lot of comments happening in the chat section. And that's why I keep reminding us that we are here to dialogue and not to argue. So whatever we take away from here will be the steps that we implement to create a better Nigeria for all of us. So at this point, I want to invite one of our honorable ministers to come and speak to us on everything that we've said so far, while I identify a young person that will speak next. So I'd like to call on the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare, if you'd like to speak a bit to what has just been said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kemi.
Pleasure, sir. We're just trying. Okay, there we go, sir.
Is Minister of State Labor there? Kemi, if the Minister of State Labor is there, let him respond before I respond.
Yes,
is
sir.
that okay?
Yes, sir, that's fine, sir. Let me just find Mr. Keyamo, sir. Are you still here with us? Oh, I cannot seem to find him.
All right, find him. Let me respond. Thank you so much. I think that we're moving this along. I see quite a number of young people still want to ask questions, and we will take those questions. But I think, let me respond to a number of things. I listened to Ambassador David Ibrahim. I listened to the young lady who was with us last week, who is a digital advocate, and I do agree with you. The fact that we have a digital skills gap, is true. And the government needs to accelerate the acquisition of digital skills for our youth. We've seen the best global practice is government and the private sector partnering. And at the ministry, we have 5 strategic implementation partners. And if not for the COVID-19 pandemic, that kind of short-circuited our plans, we'll have at this time been talking about 250,000 youth already with digital skills and certification. We have a partnership with IBM that has delivered over 17,000 people online, youth. And we have testimonials to that, who have gone to get their training online, and they have IBM certifications. Just before COVID-19 took place, pandemic, the Africa Development Bank had concluded to set up 17 centers of excellence across the country in partnership with the Ministry of Youth and Sport for what they call coding for employment. And all our youth will have been at least 200 youth per each of this center. But COVID-19 happened, that also stopped. Junior Achievement has about 64 centers across the country where to equip them and then use them to train youth for digital training. But we're back again. The world is opening up and we have plans. I can tell you from November, we're going to be training between 100 and 200 youth in each geopolitical zone. We've identified the states on coding for employment. And our model now is training into enterprise. In the past, we just simply trained our youth and then turned them back again into the job market without giving them what they need to be self-starters and work creators. The model now is an end-to-end model. We train that will lead you into enterprise or entrepreneurship. We provide starter packs, we provide finance for you to start off. And that is the whole essence of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, to invest in the innovative ideas and skills of our youth. So we're matching training with entrepreneurship. And that way we're able to lift most of our youth out of unemployment and poverty, as the case may be. Jobs, government jobs are disappearing so fast. And we realize that our youth, they're innovative, they have great ideas, they can build enterprises, and we need to support them with the needed finance, because without the needed credit and finance, that won't happen. Now, Ambassador David Ibrahim, you spoke at length. I may not be able to mention everybody's name, but I'll just take the issues and respond. I think that the idea of quick response through government is very important, but also not all issues can be quickly responded to. Let me take the gamut of demands that have been provided, 5 of them, as we have. Some of them will need administrative response, and there's a timeline for that. Some of them will need executive orders response. There's a timeline for that. There must be the drafting, the legal work. But some of them will need legislation. And that means they have to go through the executive, then taken to the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Reps. And that will take time too, because these are processes you cannot really, you can accelerate them, but you must give them time so that whatever they put together will stand the test of time when it comes to legality and within the rule of law. But then, my understanding is that some of these demands, they are the demands that we can meet now, and they are being met. They are the demands that can be medium term. They are demands that are long term. And I think government has a clear understanding. Just working with some of the youth, we've been able to demarcate that, the ones for now, the ones for short term, and the one for medium term. Police reforms, for instance, will take time. And that process has begun. We just have to be vigilant to make sure that that process goes through. The disbandment is now, and that has happened. Prosecution and bringing to justice the guilty is a process that has to be in a continuum, and that has already started. I listened to some of the takeaways I have is that we need probes to occur, we need prosecution, and we need justice. 36 officers have been retired. About 7 have undergone ordinary trial. Ogun State Governor has listed about 11 that will be tried for violations during the protest. Lagos State Governor this morning has also listed over a dozen, and we want to expect that with vigilance, we get every state to do the needful so that we can have quite a number of these people come forward to account for what they've done. That is part of the demands of the Nigerian youth. That is what the Nigerian government and the President Muhammadu Buhari has committed to. First, to ban SARS, which he has done. Two, to make sure that you have a thorough investigation of the killings that have occurred in the past and during the EndSARS protest, to bring the book those that are guilty. And that process is ongoing, but it's going to need vigilance on our part. Let me also speak to what Bafa said. Bafa, I heard you loud and clear, and you come from a background of just working with people, both young and old, and your development perspectives are well known. And I think the loss of lives, very regrettable, very regrettable. Like I said, we're going to make sure we get justice for every youth that lost his life. I think that is important. And the necessary levels of government, human rights, the Human Rights Commission is working. On our part, we're also collating whatever we can get on our website. We'll put it together and pass it to government. And like the Minister of Women Affairs said, there can be no Nigeria without the youth. The youth of our country are a resource, like I've said, and not a problem. And the voice of every Nigerian youth is important. So let me say this. I may have to say that at the end. On our part as the ministry, we've begun an awareness campaign. An awareness campaign that is rooted around the issues and the aspirations of Nigerians, so that constantly both the youth and those in power are reminded that this is the kind of Nigeria our youth deserve and want. These are the issues that need to be met. Constantly is held up before us as a mirror. That's one. Two, we're looking at the Nigerian Youth Assembly so that we can have this engagement on a continuous basis. The virtual meeting we're having will take place every Friday. Government and the ministry is committed to that. The format might change, but this forum of conversation and feedback will occur every Friday. And some of this week when we have this, we might be able to even bring back some really important progress that we have made, because we're in touch with all levels of government, police, IG, and several others to give us updates so that we can pass this along. But we think that we want to work to have the Nigerian Youth Assembly, and we'll have to discuss with the youth to say, let's have 5 representatives from each state and let them meet with the government at another level through the ministry. Let's have this conversation. Let's also tell them what government is doing, and they can become youth ambassadors, 5 of them in each of their state. That is a proposal we're looking at that we want to finalize. We also think it's important that we plan to establish a help desk. We already have a deal office here. The help desk will be important because the youth can now call in directly or email or do WhatsApp to find out information. What opportunities exist? How do I apply? In which ministry? In which department? We have 25 different youth focus programs. Like I said, they're in several ministries and agencies. Most people don't know this information. I must agree. Of the 25, only 12 of them are under our ministry. But then we're in the process of making sure that the implementation process, the information, the database that is needed is also domiciled with us, so that through the help desk that we have on multiple platforms, social media platforms where our youth play, the help desk can help provide information. For those that can't come in directly, you could call, what is the website? I have a problem applying for this, and we can get necessary guidance. About 10 months ago, we did open and launch NOYA. Of course, during COVID-19, we stopped work on it. That is a website. It is the Nigerian Online Youth Assembly. Realizing that most of our youth are normally online, we said the best place to meet our youth is online. So we set up the Nigerian Youth Online Youth Assembly, NOYA. And NOYA is simply an aggregator website. It aggregates all opportunities, both within government, private sector, and the international community for our youth. Is it fellowship? Is it scholarship? Is it training? Is it awards? Is it competition? That trove of information exists. But then, unless our youth apply themselves to this website and these opportunities, they cannot benefit from it. But I think that it's true that communication has to be more effectual. We need to also develop multiple levels of information dissemination. So if you don't get it from your social media platform, you can get it from our website. If you don't get it, you can call our help desk. But then in a deliberate way, even as a youth, you must in a deliberate way search for this key information so that it can empower you. I think I will leave it at that so that others can contribute. And then when we're about to wrap up, I can speak in more definitive terms. Thank you very much. Tell Kemi. Kemi, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, just before you go, there's a question here from Mr. Gabriel Idu. He said all the intervention programs appear to be targeted at the youth, and the youth have been categorized to be between 18 and 35 years old. My question is, what happens to individuals above 35 years old, sir?
Thank you very much. You know, there's a global, the global definition of a youth is universal. There are a bit of variations at the continental level, but it is agreed, even from the very biological angle, that there's a youth band. The United Nations, the World Health Organization, the African Union, and various countries have decided, it's agreed that there's a youth band for any developmental project. On our part, the National Youth Policy identify the youth between ages 15 and 29. But we know that for most developmental policies, in order for it to be able to capture more people within that very strong and viral population, it is 18 and 35. When you benchmark it, most youth programs are captures 18 and 35. And that's our mandate, to look for youth between 15, 18, and to 35, and see how we can meet their aspirations and the issues that concern them. As for those above 35, I think that largely becomes the responsibility of government, because our program is targeted at the youth. And I'm sure that there are so many other programs for Nigerians who are above 35 that they can benefit from. Because in a deliberate way, we make sure that beneficiaries of our program are pegged at that ceiling. So when you apply and you're more than 35, your application is not likely to go through. Thank you very much, Kemi.
Hello, can you hear me? Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for some of those clarifications there. I know we all still do have a lot more questions. And as the Honorable Minister has promised us, this dialogue will continue every week. Many apologies for that. I believe I went offline for a second or two, but I think I'm back now. So yes, where I was, so yes, NECO has said work with people to move things faster. So definitely, yes, we need to work with you. We want to work with you. So, and I read another comment that says there are a lot of smart young persons. Definitely, working with smart young persons. And I know from a lot of names that I've seen in this conversation that there are a lot of social media influencers on this conversation. And there have been all these initiatives that the ministries have put together, that the federal government has put together. A lot of us have highlighted that we've not been able to get to these opportunities, haven't got to us. We haven't got that information. So the onus is upon us as social media users and social media influencers to ensure that if there are any good messages out there, we take it upon ourselves to ensure that we share it to whoever may also be able to benefit from that good message of opportunities, job opportunities, training opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities, funding opportunities, scholarship opportunities. We need to share that with ourselves. It is very important. I promised a young lady called Chloe that she would, or Cleo, sorry, that she would have the opportunity to speak. So Cleo, you may wish to unmute yourself and let's hear what your comments are on how we can do this together.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oyinkansola Adeni. I'm living in England. I've never set foot in Nigeria before, but I'm hearing everything over the internet and it's absolutely heartbreaking and disheartening. I would like the government to do something about youths from feeling like this. And since my mum told me in the future I'll be visiting Nigeria, I would like to see everything in that country. And youths like myself can't feel like this because our parents, our uncles and our family are from there. And I'm scared because of SARS and everything going on. SARS and everything going on. It's heartbreaking. I don't know when I'll get to set foot in Nigeria. So my dad is a professor in Nigeria. He's Dr. Abiodun Adeniyi. So I'm scared for his life because he lives in Nigeria. I'm scared because of SARS and everything, and it's just heartbreaking, really. And
thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I don't know what to say. I'm still bamboozled to say with what is happening, but with everything being said by the Honorable Minister and every other person that have contributed, I just want to say thank you, and we are looking forward to the recommendations to be put in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Cleo. Cleo, we are working together to ensure that Nigeria will be a place that you would love to come to. I also actually grew up in England myself, and I've come back to Nigeria to give as much as I can to Nigeria. We're working together to ensure that we do that. And Cleo, definitely, it would be amazing for you to come here. Just a second, please. Okay, so the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development would like to respond to Cleo. And Cleo's mom, thank you so much for helping Cleo to get online and for expressing those feelings. We really appreciate you. Honorable Minister, sir, you may wish to unmute yourself now, sir.
I just wanted to quickly respond to Cleo. I want to thank the mother for making sure that Cleo gets an opportunity to interact with us. And I want to tell Cleo that really your pain about being scared of SARS is actually legitimate. But I think that what should be comforting is that this country is now confronting finally the SARS menace by disbanding SARS, but also bringing to justice several of the police officers in SARS. So there's the sanity creeping back in. The deficit in trust that is there is getting breached gradually. I want to tell you, Cleo, this morning, that a better government and a better country is possible in Nigeria. And I think the process of renewal has since begun. But with the protests we've had, that process of renewal will be accelerated. So I want to encourage you, Cleo, that a better country and good governance is possible in this country. And that process is already afoot. The president is committed to it. Work has started on the part of different levels of government, including ministers. And I think that I want to encourage you that you'll be proud very soon to visit Nigeria and you will not be scared of SARS. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir. I hope, Cleo, that's laid your fears to rest. I do have a number of people that have private chatted me that they would like, that have chatted that they would like to speak.
To reduce that.
Sorry, please mute the Honorable Minister. Sorry, at this point we're only taking young men that are under 30. So at this point, I'd like to invite Blessing to speak. Blessing Ogbu. I hope I pronounced your name properly. Blessing, please give us your comments on how you would like us to work together to achieve a better Nigeria. Blessing Ogbu, please unmute yourself. Hello,
Good
Blessing.
afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to thank everyone for all the ministers for all they have said so far. Concerning moving forward a better Nigeria, I think one of the major issues we haven't addressed yet is the issue of religious instability in this country. Because if you've looked at the internet from everything that's been happening, as young people, in a way, we tend to find a way to make everything become a religious problem. And this is not so. I feel like the government needs to put in more effort, and individually as persons, we need to put more effort into the fact that when we fight for a struggle in the country, whether it be in the north, in the south, or in the east, or anywhere it is, it's not because this particular region is predominantly one religion. It's because we want a better Nigeria for everybody, and then an issue is not targeted at one particular religion or one particular region. So I feel like this whole thing, no matter how much we put in place, if we don't settle the issue of religious instability, we're not going anywhere as a nation, because we're still, the one way or the other, the elites up there still try to use religion to divide us down here. And as young people, we shouldn't grow up with that. We need to find a way to create more awareness to people, to young people like us, to let them know that, okay, we are humans first, we're Nigerians first before every other thing. So we need to have more awareness on religious interfaith tolerance and all of that stuff. So we need more effort on interfaith tolerance to actually get all these things working.
Okay, Blessing. So that's an awesome comment from Blessing. So interfaith tolerance. We need to understand that we are all one. Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, whichever way you believe is the way to God. That doesn't stop us from sharing the same skin color. And even when we don't share the same skin color, we're all human beings, and everybody does deserve a good quality of life. That would like to speak. There is a question here about the structure of the Nigerian police, and I might help our ministers by letting us know that our ministers are not the police, but they will carry this message to the police and assist in getting an answer for us. So, Mr. Idong Ikpewe, Mr. Idong Ikpewe, are you still there? Okay,
yeah,
so Mr. Idong, okay, there we go. Please do give us your contribution, sir.
All right. First of all, a big thank you to you and the Honorable Minister and all the youths. First, I'd like to express my thoughts towards the president's speech yesterday. I don't think that speech was comprehensive enough. I don't think the president really showed the kind of remorse the youth would have loved to see. And considering the nature of things, I mean, I don't agree with that speech. I don't know who wrote that speech. That was not a good speech. And also, in situations like this, I know he's the president, but we elected him, he's serving us. What is wrong for the president to stand and address the nation? Like sitting down to address the nation doesn't show respect. So I feel the president
Yes.
should, relate
So
with.
how do you feel? So, what the dialogue here
Yeah, I
is
know.
what do you feel we can do together? So what can we do
I'll tell you what we
to
can do
help
together.
Nigeria
I'll
forward?
tell you what we can do together, but before we say what we can do together, I need to tell you how I feel. So we move from there. Well, what we can do to move Nigeria forward, it's very simple. Communication. Communication is the key. The president should be addressing the nation, especially now, on time, at least weekly, giving us updates on what is happening. He needs to talk to us. That is one. Then two, we need to be able to reach out to our representative whenever we want to reach out to them. For example, you want to reach out to your senator. You can't even email. You will send an email. No one responds. Ministry of Youth. I mean, I'm happy to hear this. I have sent an email to your ministry on different occasions. No response. You can name all the ministries. Now, most times, these emails you're sending, it's not as if you're asking them to do something for you. You just emailing to ask, what can I do? Oh, can we do this? Can we do that? No one responds. What do they do in the ministries? I feel the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, this help desk you want to set up in your ministry, I think it would be a good idea to relate with other ministries and see if they can do similar things. That will help. Then secondly, we can have a nation when the university is struggling. We have to look into the university. We are struggling. How many of the industries in Nigeria will be willing to employ graduates from Nigerian university? Right now, as I speak with you, other universities abroad in the UK, they are learning from home. Nigerian universities, the students are home, they can learn. So what would the ministry do to ensure that even in the midst of the pandemic, students can be at home and learn? How would the president, how would the government help to ensure that at least all Nigerian youth in Nigerian public university should own a personal computer? They need it. It's not a luxury. They need a computer. Then also in that country, we need internet. They need internet because all these things, I'm sure a lot of them would have loved to join, but they don't have the network to connect. How can we fix that? Then also another major problem in Nigeria is we don't even know how many we are. Now, this is where the banking sector, the GSM companies can come together. We've been doing SIM card registration, we've done BVN, all these things put together. How can we use it to know exactly what population we are and where each person lives in that country? Because you can't even trace people to their houses. If you can trace them to their houses, how can you give them development? So we need to think about that as well.
Okay.
And finally, the honorable ministers, all of them, they should try to be reaching out to the young people, respond to phone calls, respond to emails. This will really help. That is the only way the people can know that you have them at heart, that you're representing them. And with that said, I do think a lot of things will change in the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So the conversation there was more about ministries' emails need to start working. There needs to be better communication, and there needs to be better communication, and we weren't too happy with the president's speech yesterday, and for the fact that he was sitting down. At this point, I'd like to call on our mother, Madam Dame Pauline Tallen, the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, if she's still in the house, and if she'd like to, if she's been listening to us, and if she'd like to speak to some of the things that our young people have said. Ma'am, if I may humbly request that you unmute yourself in order to speak with us. Okay, we are trying to get.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to once again thank the Honorable Minister and all the youths on this platform. I also want to sincerely thank some of our mothers and some of our female youths that have spoken and have shared their views on the pains we are all going through and the need for us to continue this dialogue. What the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport has done is excellent, and I want us to build on it. And I want to reaffirm and to reassure you that this government, we are committed to issues affecting the youths. As a mother, I feel so much pain. I know the pain of motherhood. I know the pain of childbirth. My heart goes to all those who have lost their children in these unfortunate incidents, and to reassure all our youths that Mr. President is genuine, Mr. President is a true father, Mr. President is committed. Mr. President cannot do everything. Nigeria belongs to all of us. And the youths being the leaders of tomorrow, you must try to step into a situation of responsibility and leadership. We are preparing to hand over to you. You are the hope and the future of Nigeria of tomorrow. All issues affecting the youths will be carried along. The minister has reaffirmed this. I'm reaffirming this as a mother. All various committees in my ministry, I make sure I involve the female youths. We work together. We are always carrying them along. Issues like the girl-child education is key. Education is key. And I am appealing to your conscience that we are doing everything humanly possible to address all the burning issues that affect you. As the Honorable Minister has clearly outlined, the intervention programs for youths are so many that this government has put in place. That shows the commitment of this administration to issues affecting you. We are committed to carrying you along, but we need to dialogue more. Even the Nigerian Civil War ended up on a round table. There is no better way to address issues that are hurting other than sitting on a round table, talking and communicating through this dialogue. And when it's necessary, we will still arrange to meet you face-to-face where we can discuss more. But believe in everything that the Honorable Minister has said. He is genuine. Mr. President is genuine. I vow to reassure you that as a mother, we will remain committed and genuine. We are doing our possible best to reach out and to answer all the demands. I know it can be frustration. It can be very frustrating when you try to reach out and you cannot get anyone to answer. This we have listened and very clearly. I want to assure you, we will continue to do our best to answer you, to address issues when you call out or when you send emails. The minister, myself, and we will pass this message to all other ministers in the various ministries. We remain committed to issues affecting you. And as a mother, I am fully committed and reassuring you that issues affecting youths must always be on that table. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We really appreciate your words. I'd like to call on Onofe Oshevire to give his comments now, please. Onofe Oshevire, you may wish to unmute yourself at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, distinguished ministers, standing on the existing protocols. I celebrate the convening of this youth town hall meeting. Am I being heard? Please, all right then. Now, going straight to the point. As a youth ambassador of the African Union for Agenda 2063 and an active participator in the NSAS protest, I will have you know, my honorable ministers, that your good intentions are well understood. But in the cadre of 21st century, good intentions alone are not enough. I would like to communicate the perspective of young Nigerian youths. The perspective is very clear. First of all, Nigerian youths no longer see ourselves as the leaders of tomorrow. For the future in itself, it's not a place we are going. It is a place we create. Tomorrow starts today. So I assure you, sir, we are the leaders of today. While we are still speaking, I will have you know that underground, the National Working Committee of the Youths have been constituted. We are putting together what we call the Independent Youth Charter. And in the coming days, we'll be communicating with the ministry and the minister as how 1 million Nigerian youth voices will be collated into a strategic policy document, a step-by-step action plan of what we expect of the government. You must come to terms of this fact. I first and foremost want to let you know that the youth of Nigerians and this leadership in the current generation, there is a communication gap. But our youth minister mentioned some valuable points that I want to amplify. You gave us statistics, empirical data of those who have been brought for suspects for the NSAS crimes. In our president's speech, there were no empirical data, but that is not the bone of contention. The bone of contention is how we can come to a formidable way forward. This is the truth, sir. When you're dealing with our generation, below 30 youths, we have been trained to a mindset of empirical data. For example, the average youth understands what you mean by how many number of Facebook likes or what a picture does. When the government disbanded SARS, we all agreed that it was a valuable step, and we acknowledge the government for that. But we did not see any empirical data to support that fact, unlike what our honorable minister is just giving us. For example, our honorable IG called all the SARS officers back to Abuja. There was no number of people who had reported to Abuja before it changed to NSWAT. There was no empirical data showing the pictures of the ex-SARS officers who are being reformed or who are being psychologically evaluated. You must understand that this cry that united Nigerian youth is a cry of pain, requiring justice. And justice is not money. Justice, you must present. This is what we are doing. These are the suspects. So the first thing is the communication gap, and that we are going to bridge. That we are going to bridge with the Independent Youth Charter. So, Honorable Minister, sir, the National Working Committee is coming together, and we are putting together the views of 1 million Nigerian youths for the Independent Youth Charter. We'll be communicating with your office shortly. But secondly, we are also emphasizing that in any further communication, to further bring down the tensions, we should communicate proactive data of those from state to state who have been handed over to the justice system to appease the cry for justice, to appease the emotions of Nigerian youth, to appease the national cry. It is a wake-up call, and the Nigerian youths are putting together our national structure through the Independent Youth Charter, and we are going to be communicating shortly. On this note, these are the most important things for the way forward, not going backward. Thank you very much, honorable ministers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Onofe. That was truly amazing. Now I'd like to call on Favor Forever. Favor Forever, I'm just going to try to locate you so that you unmute yourself. We do have a number of hands up. I will try to get to everybody. Favor Forever? Please unmute yourself.
Hello everybody. It's a beautiful day. I decided to put up a smile first because I feel it's something that could relieve us of the stress and all the emotional traumas we've had lately. Well, I stand on the existing protocol. I want to say thank you to the Honorable Minister and our dear Mama. I was glad when I heard her talk, as a mother, and also, I said on a series of platforms that I've been on that you don't have to be a mother before you feel the pain, of someone being aggrieved, of losing a loved one, or what is happening economically in Nigeria. Well, I want to go to a different perspective. Everyone has spoken excellently well. Even from what point everyone has gathered here is enough manual for us to use. And that's where my point is driving towards this afternoon. You buy a new equipment, you always have a manual, and the essence of the manual is just to guide you on how to use it, especially if you've never used such before. Now, I'm going towards a party now, because listening from previous talks, no one really particularly dwelt on the plan, the party, the existing party, prevailing party. We can't shy away from the fact that this is a democratic nation. We are in democracy currently in Nigeria. We are not under the military rule. Now, APC came on board, and I'm sure there is no party in federal, any government that will not have a blueprint of what their plans are. Now, they came during the manifesto, told us a series of things. And I want to suggest that somehow, during the course of activities, we might forget. Now, if you begin to use a particular equipment and you get used to that equipment, you may forget that at some point when you get hooked, like, why is this equipment behaving funny? You might forget that you need to go back to the manual to see maybe there's something you're missing out. Now, what am I saying? Let APC go back to the blueprint where they started from, their promises, particularly for the youth. Now, the blueprint is such that they can decide to revise it. They can decide to amend, they can decide to add. Now, let me add this humor to it. The Honorable Minister said it's a deliberate attempt that there's a restriction on age limits for youths that would, partake from series of programs, laudable programs they have for the youth. I want to believe that he would go back and make provisions for youth from 35 and above. So I trust you will do that. You make provision for people like that. So now I think it would be good if APC, the ruling party, goes back to the blueprint and make provisions. And I always say, I just said recently on another platform in Lagos State that there is so much that the youth can gain from this economy, from this present dispensation of government. If only they are enlightened, if only they are educated. Now, there's so many, the Honorable Minister talked about a series of programs, and I was like, for me, I was just hearing them from the first time. And I began to ask, how come I didn't hear about this? How come I didn't even tell people I know that would benefit from it? How come I didn't pass the message across to them? And I'm beginning to wonder what is happening. And I think we need to sensitize them, go to the grassroots, let them know what the government is offering them. They are angry. Nobody is saying they shouldn't be angry. Convert the anger, the energy, rather than being destructive. Convert it, bring it. If the government is asking for dialogue, nothing stops you from coming. Yeah, someone is giving you a blank check, then come. Let's table it together. I believe we need to reorientate the youth. Everything is not about being angry and being destructive. Permit me to use that word. It's painful because now it has turned out to something else. Now, jobs have been lost. Series of jobs have been lost as we speak today. Now, if the government decides to call off life goes back to normal. Some people cannot resume back to their offices. We are all aggrieved. I am also a party to end SARS, but now it has turned out to something else. If they have been reorientated, if their mental psyche had been that, no, this is what, let's have a focus, this is what we are fighting, and don't let us go beyond this. The protest will not be hijacked. So let APC go back, let them go back to the blueprints and see what they can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your awesome comments. I'll look for somebody else to get on. Olufemi Damilola. I'm trying to unmute you now. You may wish to unmute yourself. Olufemi Damilola. Olufemi Damilola, you are muted. Please unmute yourself. Okay, I think Olufemi is struggling to unmute himself.
All right.
Okay, there we go. Olufemi, yes, please do
Good
give us your
afternoon.
comment. Good afternoon.
Yes. I appreciate this opportunity and I thank the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport. My contribution, everyone has spoken well, but the area I'm concerned about is the communication aspect. Seriously, as a digital media person, checking Twitter yesterday and this morning, there are a series of conversations between the youth in the sense that the religion and ethnicity thing is something that we should really tackle. Fine, NSAS, it has really destroyed so many things. It has lost life, and it is our prayer that it won't happen. But just like the minister said earlier, there will be a help desk that will be provided very soon. But my concern is that once the help desk is available, the ministers and the ministry should just work towards responding to those messages. This is digital media world. We understand the fact that the minister might not be able to attend to those conversations, but we are very sure that they have competent hands that can assist them in doing that. And just like Onofe has said, we should look into these things, and just like the conversation of everyone, I really appreciate this platform and I hope it will continue, just like the minister said, every Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olufemi Damilola. Okay, so we continue to move through the raised hands, and then we'll take a few more, and then we'll go back to the Honorable Minister to respond to us. Georgina Bellu. Georgina Bellu, if you would like to unmute yourself. Georgina Bellu.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us this platform. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to all the young persons who participated in NSARS. And by NSARS, I mean the people who genuinely came out and protested peacefully, because it is very important for us to clarify that the people who protested for the 10 or more days this was on were peaceful. I was part of the protest, and not once during those protests did any violence occur that was caused by the protesters. It is very important that the narrative is cleared, because there's been a lot of there's been quite a number of attempts to change the narrative. Now, I am first a Nigerian before I am Christian, or I am Igbo, or I am Yoruba, or anything. And it is important to put that out there. Now, I'm going to talk about a number of things. It's going to be on education. It's going to be on conflict resolution. It's going to be on communication, transparency, and laws, because I think if we're able to handle these things, then we're going to be able to handle, everything that's going on. Sandy, please come and turn on the AC for me, sorry. So first off, I need to talk about how we infantilize the youths. They are young people. we need to stop calling them children. It's a bit annoying when the government needs to address the young people and all you hear is my children, my children. If we were really the children of the government, we will not get half the things being done to young people. It will not be done. You treat your child with respect. You treat your child with love, with understanding. If you say we are your children, and yet you get your police people to fire tear gas and water cannons, to beat people, and to have all manner of brutality go on, you can't say I'm your child. You're probably treating me the way colonial masters treated my ancestors. So I will regard you as a colonial master. I will not call you my father. For me to call you father, you have to show workings. That's what they say now, show workings, right? So you will show workings and prove that you are my father. Yeah, so let's get the infantilization away, please. Stop calling young people children. Refer to them as young people. Refer to them as youths. When you do that, you start to make progress. 2, I need to talk about education. But before I go to education, I need to point out something because I wrote a number of things down that I needed addressed. So young people that protested, unfortunately, the protests got hijacked by hoodlums. Now, we all call them hoodlums, right? Because it's easy for us to differentiate. They are the Agberos, they are the bad boys, they are everything. But how did they get there? What provisions were made for these people? Did they get the same opportunities as everyone else and then they decided to become Agberos or hoodlums? Because we need to address all of these issues. It's easy to say, oh, we have programs, oh, we have youth empowerment going on, oh, we have this. But what about those people on the streets? Who is educating them? Our parents got free education. Our parents were able to travel and become citizens of other countries by virtue of education. What have we done for our young people? What have we done? You know, what education have we provided for the people on the streets? Every year in Nigeria, the budget for education keeps getting reduced. Why? Instead of reducing education budget, why can't we have our National Assembly reduce their budgets? Why can't we have our ministers become the way other countries have, where they are part-time ministers, they have jobs going so they can slash their own salaries? It's easy for us to refer to these people as hoodlums and say, oh, they cause so much damage. But are we treating what is at the root of the problem? Are we dealing with the fact that these people are they're first used as touts and thugs for election, where all they get paid is maybe 500 or 1,500 naira for them to do whatever it is they need to do to ensure that whatever party that is in that area at that particular time gets the votes. If we're sending these people to school like we send our own children, and they're getting educated, and they're becoming IT developers, and they're becoming farm owners, and they're becoming bankers, and they're becoming all sorts of things, would you find them on the streets? Would there be anybody causing havoc? It's easy for us to say these things and use words, but it is not about words. We need to go beyond treating these people like they are the menace of the society, and we need to start addressing the real problem, which is that the government has failed the young person in Nigeria. Let us start with correcting the budget for education and see if there'll be no change. Let us start by getting the necessary textbooks that these people need. Don't even provide them job opportunities. They will create jobs for themselves because they are confident, because they know what they've learned. They know what they have. It is that simple. So all of this talk of youth empowerment, of bringing keke napep, of bringing pure water machine bags, of bringing sewing machine, for me, I see that as keeping the youth suppressed. And we cannot continue to do that because we are on a ticking time bomb. Things went wrong, and that's why this, if only they had brought a leader. It's easy to say, but for all the times our parents protested, for all the times our grandparents protested, and they had leaders, what came out of it? Was there any lasting change that we can point to, that the younger people can point to? There's none. They don't even teach history anymore. People don't even know what is going on. Now, for laws, I would advocate that the process of getting justice is faster. The Lagos state government brought out a list of people that were being prosecuted, and that's great. But some of those cases were as far back as 2012. 8 years. 8 years ago, justice. People who died in 2020 get justice. When will they get justice? So, I mean, it's easy for us to have platforms and say, doing this and we're doing that. It's great. But what exactly we do to address this? Because if someone has gotten justice from 4 years ago and all that, I don't hope that I will get justice in 2020. It's that simple. Now, I'm going to address something that the Minister for Youth said. He said they've agreed to get justice for those who died. Okay, I would like to know if the people who died include the people who died at Lekki Koito. The government is on and is saying, oh, nobody died. Oh, nothing happened. That's great. But I watched 5 streams on that day. I watched 3 live streams where shooting went on. I watched somebody die on camera. Yeah, government has a good propaganda going on and it's working. What the government understands is young people, not the young of yesterday. The fact that with Nokia 3310, when those protests happened, when all the Odi massacre and all of those things happened, and there was no evidence and it was wiped out, the same cannot be said today. You can carry out propaganda for a number of days or months or years, but the truth is, when there is evidence, evidence always prevails. So I'm sorry I'm taking a lot of time. I'm so taking a lot of talk.
It's a dialogue. Many people. Just 1 second. 1 second.
It's just go to wrap. Conflict resolution. Our government do better when conflict resolution.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm going to wrap this up. What is very important? This is the to conflict resolution rights. It is what stands between them getting things right with the young people, with Nigerians generally, and with things flaring up. You can never go wrong with proper conflict resolution. Never. You can never go wrong with it. The government needs to get that right. It is not about brute force every time. I hope I've made my points clear.
Yes,
I'm sorry I've taken so much time from everybody.
After the town hall meeting to see how you can contribute to assist in achieving that. We do need to rush along because we need to take as many people as possible. I'm going to take Olushola Ade. I'm just trying to find your full name, Olushola. Olushola Adeyemi, I think. You may wish to unmute yourself. Adeyemo, sorry. Olushola Adeyemo.
Okay.
Yes. Are you there, Mr. Olushola? He's muted again. I can see that you're still you've muted yourself again. So try to unmute yourself again, Mr. Olushola. Getting to Mr. Olushola, and because we do need to get.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, please, your comments, please, Mr. Olushola.
Yeah, thank you for this platform. I also stand on all existing protocols and also in support of everything everyone has said so far in the group. Let me also commend the effort of the government in setting up this platform. Personally, this is one of the things I've been clamoring for. With governance, and at this age and time, there is that strong need for engagement. And I think even for a lot of the things that have happened in the last few days, one of the key things that came out was that need for communication, which I believe is one of the key gaps we currently have in our national body when it comes to relationship between government and the citizens. And still talking about this platform, and this is just a suggestion. I've had few other people who wanted to join this meeting. I found that they couldn't, partly because there is a limit to the number of people that could join this platform. I think maybe the maximum limit is 100. So that puts a tab on even the extent of engagement we could have. Secondly, a platform like this or an engagement like this, I also believe should be at a very large scale, potentially national scale. So you can begin to imagine what happens if we're having this kind of platform and it's being televised, it's on the radio. People who don't currently have access to Zoom can probably call in and also have their voices heard and also engage in the debate. Because by the time we start doing this, a lot is going on. People are disconnected. A lot is going on. Government is disconnected. Government is feeling, oh, we are working and we are trying to solve problems. People are feeling nothing is going on. We are angry. And we definitely just need to solve that problem of disconnection. One thing I would like to say with the youth is, and what I strongly believe we are also clamoring for at this point in time, is for us to be able to have a very clear accountability system in place for people in governance. So we do know what the national budget looks like, and how do we get young people or the citizens involved in discussions around allocation, discussions around budget tracking, discussions around really seeing the tangible results of how monies are being spent across board, prioritization of budgets. So at times, government say we are doing this, but it probably doesn't mean anything to the people, and there is that disconnect. So let's have very solid structures in place that we ensure governance, accountability, people's engagement. We could even have a website. People can easily track spending, track the progress of budget, hold specific ministries and departments responsible and accountable for performances, and even have potentially the right to call for people to either be removed or replaced if they are not performing. We also spoke about the vision, the national vision. You ask even well-educated people, nobody seems to be very clear about the vision of Nigeria. Where are we heading to? What are we doing? How much progress have we made in the last 20 years? We've been talking about Vision 2020. This is now 2020. It still looks as if we don't have a clear vision. So if it's not clear to educated people who are on Zoom, I can imagine what's going on at the grassroots level, at the village level. So we have an NOA. What are we doing to specifically paint a vivid picture that gets every citizen involved in national development? The young people have shown capacity, like I also said in the last last few weeks, in terms of what we could do. Let's also organize and begin to do these things. Let there be funding to do the things we know how to do well, be it on environmental level, engaging some civic responsibility. Let us all see the opportunities in what has happened in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, there have been losses, but we can rise from these ashes, build on what has happened, and get everyone involved. No tribalism, no religious biases. Let's get everybody involved in a joint vision for national development, and let's progress in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olushola. Your points were very, very valid and they've been taken on board. I'd just like to share with us at this moment that we have reached almost 9,000 engagement on Facebook. A lot of people are joining and commenting via Facebook. We have comments that say this should be done more on mainstream media. And just as you said, it should be taken to the grassroots as well. And I believe that's sort of the conversations that we're having on Facebook. I must also say that the ministry does have an email address, which is info@youth-and-sport.gov.ng. So we are open to welcoming emails from you, from anybody with points that can assist in taking us forward. At this point, I'll call on another speaker. We are wrapping up soon. We do understand that a lot of people have gone to pray, and we'll take that into account when creating the time next week. We're wrapping up soon, so I just want to take one or two more people. If you have spoken, you might just lower your hand so that we can pick on those that haven't spoken. I see Mr. Adebi Oke. Mr. Adebi Oke, you may wish to unmute yourself. Yes, I will be writing the full email address in the comment section, so you can visit the comment section there. Since this meeting has been streamed live on Facebook, the video will remain on Facebook, and we can each circulate it from there. And as I've said again, our social media influencers or social media savvy people that are here, please, when we do have the next meeting next week, please do ensure that you assist in spreading the message as far and wide as possible, so we can get enough young people to join us. Mr. Adebi Oke, please, you may wish to speak now.
Yeah, good afternoon, the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on existing protocols. I must appreciate this idea. It's quite a laudable one. You've done quite well by bringing this on to the public. It's not a usual thing that you're doing, and I must appreciate it. First of all, I just want to say I've listened to everyone, and I've listened to the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs as well. And I must say that I was almost moved to tears, because she didn't speak like a politician. She spoke as like a mother, and I just wish that, we had this kind of emotion or kind of empathy across the public sector. Now, I just want to actually, quickly talk about everything the Honorable Minister of Sports and Youth and Sports have said. So as of today, I must say that this ministry is the biggest ministry in the land. If you look at the number of youth population that the ministry is to manage, in terms of the age category that we're looking at, in terms of the youth numbers, if you look at the potentials this youth have, if you look at the level of crisis that is engulfing this country today, if you look at the 60% or over 60% population of youth population that we have, and the impact they could have on our economy, which is actually nosediving day by day today. If you look at every other ministries compared to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, in terms of Ministry of Oil, Ministry of Petroleum and Power, and the rest of them, I still consider this ministry to be the biggest ministry today, and the ministry that should have the biggest funding, because if you look at other climes, like in Europe, they do quite a lot of things that actually help to calm the youth down. If you look at every weekend, on some weeks, during the weekdays, in the evening from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., the youth the young people are, and even older ones as well, they are all focused on television set. They're either watching the Europa League, watching the Champions League. Weekend, they're watching the Premier League. They're watching the Italian League. They're watching all of these things. The sports is just one way. They don't have to be sportsmen and women, okay? Sports is one way of actually calming people down. And the Premiership has done it everywhere in the world. We watch it. I watch it. It helps me. I go through a lot of pressure from Monday to Friday. The kind of pressure that will make me go mad. But you see, the way I sit down and watch football over the weekend, it makes me to forget most of these things. And that is what governments abroad have actually used to help their young ones. Those that can participate fully, yes. Those that cannot participate become fans. So all of these things, they actually work hand in hand. And even in development and all of that, they look at all of these things. They look at the councils. If you look at local councils, there are different programs and engagement that is going on that is actually engaging the youth at one time or the other. There are free housing council flats that exist in the UK that, this youth can actually, occupy because they don't have a job or because they don't have all of these things. is very, very crucial. If we do not take this as a priority, I'm telling you, this problem will not go away. I know the ministry actually recently developed a program whereby there is a 75 billion funding of some sort to empower youth and all of that. I'm telling you, it will not achieve the desired results in the long run. Maybe in the immediate, possibly, but in the long run, it's not going to achieve those desired results. So we need to think further. So at this time, I think the ministry needs volunteer. The work at hand, I've listened to everybody, and I think at one time or the other, I've actually been able to actually see some of the things the ministry is doing. I'm telling you, the work at hand is too big for this ministry. Yeah. It's too big for the human resource within the ministry. You need volunteers, you need young people, all these young people that are working the street. Okay. They are your primary employees, they are your volunteers, they are your tools, they're the people you should use to achieve your results, to achieve your goals, to achieve your objectives. You need to fast track all of these things. Now, you don't need to be working 9 to 5 again as a ministry. 24 hours. This ministry should be working 24 hours. The help desk the minister is talking about is not a help desk that should close at 5 p.m. and be going home. This is not Ministry of Agric or Ministry of any other ministry there. It's a ministry that is resolving the agitation that is going on in this country right now. I mean, you should be working 24 hours, night and day. You know, I am glad personally I'm no longer a youth. You know, I'm much of an elder now. You know, but I'm telling you, I walk around youth. I have over 30 youth. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I think so. We're losing you a little bit.
Okay, so
hello.
Okay,
can you just round up? We're losing you a bit. I think.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say now is that, you know,
and we are. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, just to round up. The point that I'm trying to make now is that the ministry just needs to do all of these things. I'm speaking for young people, a lot of youths around me, and I think that, you know, the ministry needs to take advantage. I'm very proud and very happy that police brutality will be far from me as a person, because they've done it to me in the past. They've harassed me and all of that. But since I started having this gray hair, they've been, you know, respecting me. But it's not about gray hair anymore. It's not about all of this. It's about every one of us. It's about the young people around us. It's about our children. So thank you.
Sorry to cut you off. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm going to move very fast now. I have Ifelua Okiola that wants to speak. Toyosi and someone else. At this point, I think Samira Bello would like to speak. If Samira Bello is still there, if we move to Samira Bello, and then just one or two very, very sharp 30-second, 1-minute comments. Samira Bello, have you unmuted yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samira Bello, and I'm 15 years old. And today, what I've heard is that the Ministry of Youth starts with affairs from people that are 18 and older. So where should I go? Like people of my age group, where should we go when we have to do things? Because I made an app for mental health, and with the things we've seen last week, I think it's very important. But then I've been looking for funding, and I cannot get government from the funding from the Ministry of Youth because I am not 18 yet. And I also started a business, and I can't register my business with my name because I am not 18 yet. Where do I go for those kind of things? Because I feel a bit neglected because I am not 18.
Okay, Samira, so your comment or your question was more along the lines of being neglected because you are not 18 yet. So if I may hand over to Dame Pauline Talen, our Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, if she may please wish to speak to a number of the things that have been raised here today and just round up or wrap up the conversation. We will be back again next Friday, but Honorable Minister Ma, please, you may wish to unmute yourself and assist in wrapping up the conversation.
Thank you very much, Kemi. And I want to commend all the youths for the very brilliant conversation that has taken place here. I commend you all for pouring out your hearts, and I want to assure you that we've heard you and heard you very clearly. I want to take on with the last speaker. She said she's not 18 and she doesn't know where she belongs. My ministry handles women and children. If she's not 18, I would like to know exactly what she wants to do. Or has she school? I mean, if she's not 18, she should be in school. And education is key. So let's please take our education very, very seriously, because that's the best investment any society can give its citizens. I just hope if she's not 18, she should be in school. And if there's any other issues that she would want to, I would want to have her details and we'll take it from there. So you can either reach out to us in the office, just send me a letter and remind me that you are the person that spoke on this platform. I go through all my mails every day, and I want to assure you that when you send me the letter, I will get back to you. To all the other youths that have spoken, I still want to appeal to your conscience and to appeal to everyone on this platform and all those that are not able to hook on to this platform, that we're together on this journey to make Nigeria better. And you are the future hope of this nation. Without the youths, then there can be no tomorrow for this great nation. The destruction of lives and property, so much has been destroyed. I pray and I am appealing that please, now that we've started this conversation, let's appeal to our fellow youths to give peace a chance and let's dialogue. We will not fail you. We assure you we will not fail you. Thank you all. God bless you. God bless all the youths of Nigeria, and God bless our dear country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen. We thank you so much for your contributions this afternoon. We are rounding up now, everyone. It's been an awesome dialogue. We have reached close to 10,000 people on Facebook, and we know that and YouTube. We know that the number will continue to increase. Obviously, as we know, we can't have 10,000 here all at once, but some of the comments from the Facebook, well, all the comments from the Facebook will always be there, and we will visit in order to take down the points and collate them so that when we're back here again next week, Friday, we can speak to some of the things that we found on the social media platforms via comments. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to the Honorable Minister, Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, to give us his final comments. Thank you so much. Honorable Minister, sir, you may wish to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Kemi. I want to thank everyone, Minister of Women Affairs, also, of course, Minister of State Labor, but most especially the mothers that have joined us, and also every youth that has contributed. Before me, if I can just share with you briefly, I've had so much enriching stuff this afternoon that I think that there can be no substitute for this interface. Even if it's just 1,000 youth that we have or 10,000, and if just 25 or 30 are able to speak like today, you represent the voice and the aspirations of the Nigerian youth, because the critical issues that affect you are the same, and what you expect of government are the same. So what you've put forward today is representative of what the youth population of this country, the younger generation, expect from this government, but most especially what they think should come out, what they expect to come out of the protest that has happened. If you see what I have, I've taken notes on several papers on sticker papers on this. The jottings are just massive. The jottings are massive. What is important also is that there are digital footprints of this conversation. The chat you've given, the comments, I've seen some very valid suggestions on the chat. On Facebook, every of this conversation, contribution will not be lost because they have digital footprints. And the team at the ministry will sit to put this together, digest them, separate them, and then we'll process them either into policies, into programs, or initiatives. Let me just, I will straddle between talking about the takeaways and also commenting on a few things that have been said by some speakers. I didn't pick everybody's name, but I'll just speak to certain issues. On the chat, I saw someone talk about the youth are concerned. The youth are concerned about the state of origin that limits opportunities coming to them. And I think it's very valid. That rather what we should have is the state of residence. And I think that's something that the Youth Ministry has decided. We have just commissioned the National Youth Database, the first of its kind. We just commissioned it about a month ago.
Sorry, Jessa, if I may interrupt you there. There was some background. Yes, there we go. Thank you.
Can I continue?
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I said we're working on a national youth database. And one of the columns, one of the information we'll be requiring is your state of residence. We're not using state of origin because the Nigerian youth is a Nigerian youth. And what should qualify you to benefit from any of government programs should be the fact that you're a Nigerian youth. But we just want to know where you reside so that some programs can get to you faster. Some are based on geopolitical locations. And I think it's a very valid point. I caught that on the chat, and that's very important. Let me speak to our young lady who's 15 years old, Samira Bello. You took a picture with me on October 2nd. I was excited about the app that you developed. And in fact, I did say that you should come to the office and see us. You are not neglected. The Nigerian Youth Policy, the National Youth Policy, which is the NYP, starts from ages 15 to 29. So you are captured. The Nigerian youth is identified from the age of 15 to 29. But then when it comes to certain programs, like programs for entrepreneurship, it focuses on 18 to 35 because you'll be managing money, you'll be doing a lot of things. And we think from age 18, you are matured enough for that. So Samira, the app you have developed, you can get funding for it. Either you come to the ministry and together with the Ministry of Science and Technology that is in the same building with us, it can help you get funding. Secondly, the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. There's a category for those that don't even have registered businesses. You can go on that platform, apply, and you qualify to get some level of funding for your app. So Samira and all the 15-year-olds, you are not neglected. You can plug in, and then we say we can assist you. Mother who spoke about APC as a party, the party made commitments to the youth. And when you look at the volume of youth-focused initiatives, 25 of them in the last 5.5 years, it speaks to a party who is trying to keep faith with the promises they've made to the youth. What the protests have shown us is that perhaps the communication and the participation of our youth in all these programs has not reached the level that is expected. So lessons learned, we need to accelerate the onboarding of our youth to benefit from these programs. We need to also make sure that the news is well disseminated, the information is well communicated to our youth so that they can plug in to the vast of this program. I had somebody speak about budget. I think it's important. We need to track the budget. And I know that the government has opened a procurement and spending website. It was announced everywhere. I think that is currently ongoing because you can go there and see what procurements have taken place, what companies have benefited. I've seen NGOs go there, and based on that, they've written petitions, they've asked questions. And I think an attempt to have an open government is already ongoing, is a commitment, and there's a website to that effect. Georgina, you really spoke for a long time, but you made some very valid points. And I will respond to it. Education, you talk about education. Education is critical, but I think that we have to increasingly start to focus more on technical education and vocational skills. When you go to Germany, you go to China, you go to a couple of other countries, the depth of technical education is massive. We need to refocus. And I think we have about 17 to 21 technical colleges. How many of our youth are willing to go to technical colleges? Everybody wants to go to a university. But I also think it's important that government has a deliberate policy on technical education. In Germany, for instance, every youth, if you're in the university, you spend 1 week to go for some kind of entrepreneurship. Either you go to an electrical company, you go to an automobile company, so that you can learn a bit of practicals. So when you finish, beyond your paper certificate, you've already had some technical knowledge, and you can be self-employed or be a self-starter. And I think that is very important. So I agree with you. We need to look at our educational policy again. We need to deepen the technical training, vocational training, and that will equip our youth so that they can become job creators too. Yes, you spoke about Lekki, and I think that I cannot even pass judgment on Lekki right now. What I can say is that what happened in Lekki is disheartening. The president has said it clearly that it's a fundamental right of our youth to protest and to be protected. To protest peacefully and to be protected. And I think that the government has already instituted an investigation into what happened. The military command will supply a feedback. And I think until then, I cannot pass any judgment. But what I can say is that I am saddened by what happened in Lekki. I'm saddened by the scores of our youth that were killed across the country. It is a very sad commentary and ending to what started as a very well-organized, a very well-focused protest. And I hope that whatever is necessary to heal these wounds that happened should occur. That of prosecution, bringing those that are guilty to justice, a thorough investigation at every level. And on the chat, somebody said, let us have public trials. And I'll take that to the necessary quarters, that those involved, should be publicly tried. Of course, we have a rule of law. It's not going to be a mob trial, but I think that I would take that as a point to government that we need to have these people exposed and, people can see them. I think that's very important. But again, I want to say that, like I tweeted, that it's very painful what happened in Lekki, but also what happened to a lot of young protesters who were killed, from Ogbomoso to Ibadan to Benin to Lagos to a lot of places, several of them injured, really, really painful. And like I said, the infiltration of this protest by miscreants and other elements served to just create a problem we never envisaged. And I hope that the reforms that these people have fought for, that they will not die in vain. But also, government will make sure that your aspirations are met and programs are accelerated to that effect. Let me speak to what Adebiyi Oke said. And I thank you for your contribution. There were several points you made there were on point. In fact, when you spoke about the youth, volunteers, I personally, because of my background, I know that having a volunteer corps is important, even if it's not youth. Generally, you look at the Federal Road Safety Commission right now, the volunteer corps, they've done so much work over time. And I think we'll look at the idea of having a youth volunteer corps, have a template for it so that it's well defined, put some level of legislation behind it, so that it's not something that will just come and go. It's something that is very sustainable. The biggest ministry is the Ministry of Youth and Sport, and I agree with you, because it harbors the two largest audiences, target groups that you have. Youth group, almost 70 million youth, and then you look at sport-loving Nigerians, almost over 120 million sport-loving Nigerians. And I think that in the last 1 year and 2 months, we've received tremendous support from Mr. President in terms of financing. COVID-19 came and really delayed stuff. But I can say clearly that under the stimulus program, the Economic Sustainability Plan, the ministry has been approved to receive about 4 billion naira, which never happened before. But under this president, for the first time ever, the ministry is getting 4 billion strictly for youth-focused programs. And these programs will be for digital training under our DEAL program. That is, DEAL stands for Digital Skills Acquisition, E for Employability, the second E for Employment, and L for Leadership and Mentoring. And under all this DEAL, there are various programs. There's the Digital Youth Nigeria, which will work to upskill our youth with digital skills. A lot of programs will be rolled out in the next 2 weeks or so. I will make sure that we make that information available, which is going to be very far-reaching. We're looking at stimulus programs. We're looking at youth that will be trained in mobile device, that will be trained in solar energy panels. We're looking at, very soon, we're going to have about 250 youth, 150 to 250 in 6 geopolitical zones that will be trained for 90 days on coding, in a coding for employment program. The whole chunk of that money is focused on youth empowerment and is designed under the training into enterprise. For whatever training that is taken, it must lead the youth into enterprise, either self-employment, you become a self-starter, a wealth creator, you'll be given the funding, the equipment, the instrument, and the tools you need to be a self-starter or even form little and small cooperatives. That's one. 2, sport employs a lot of youth. We've seen what sports have done for so many countries. It creates jobs, it puts value on sportsmen and women so that most youth can be encouraged to become sportsmen and women. And we're developing a national sports industry policy that would turn our sports into an industry. You look at the value chain in sport. So many of our youth can plug into the value chain, merchandise, advertising, and a lot of stuff. That is ongoing. But we're going to make sure that the value chain is so well exposed so that our youth can know where to plug in. We'll hold sport clinics on the value chain so that when a youth sits there and he sees the value chain, he sees about 7 points on the value chain, he can say, oh, this is where I want to come in. And then we can have our youth also get employed there and become self-starters. You talked about housing, the council flat concept. And I know that the one in UK works exceptionally well. I think it's something that the Youth Ministry will propose to the federal government to have some kind of public housing concept along the lines that you have in the United Kingdom. Of course, you know, that will involve several ministries, that will have to involve a national policy, but it's a takeaway from this conversation that perhaps if you can have that council public housing or council flat, you know, South Africa also had it when they came out of apartheid, and then give it to our youth, because once you have shelter to some level, you know, you're stable, and then you can look for other things. I think that is important for us. So from DBOK, I thank you so much. The fact that you have made the good point that this ministry is big, we're going to push that forward to make sure we get the funding that we need, that we cannot do it alone. we also have to get a youth volunteer corps. But also, let me tell you, there are about 7 ministries who have youth-focused programs, and we're tying up together now to make sure we conceive, we develop, and we implement these programs. Again, communication is going to be very critical. I know that there was a young man who spoke about the need for communication to have a larger platform for this program. I think we will explore the Google Meet. Right now, we're on Facebook and YouTube and Zoom, and we'll explore as we hold this virtual conversation every week going forward. The format might change. Some might just be even some youth will provide a platform. The youth will speak, we will listen. Ministers, I promise you that ministers whose ministries are tangential to youth development will be brought on from time to time to also be part of this conversation. And we know that the trove of feedback and information and suggestions that we get, we're able to process them over time. Let me say this, the National Youth Policy, conceived and approved in 2019, is a policy that is detailed to the letter. And what we've done is, apart from the big size, we also have the summarized pocketbook size. And then we also launched an app, because it's important that we also understand the youth policy, development policy that this government, it does exist. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I want to urge, we're going to find a way in which we can also get a lot of our youth, because we developed the app because all you have to do is, once you have data, Wi-Fi, you just put your camera from the phone over the app, and it downloads the youth development policy on your phone. You can also have the pocketbook. We'll find a way to make sure that goes around. And I urge our youth to look at this policy. Look at this policy document. Get familiar with it. Ask questions about it. And as we do a revision every year, we can change a few things, improve on a few things. That would be very important. So I want to thank everyone for this conversation this afternoon. I think that we're going to continue to try and deepen this conversation. What is important is that whatever we discuss here is well documented, and then we can draw up an action plan from time to time. In the next several weeks, there will be a few developments, like I said, because beyond this platform, we want to look at how we can put together a national or Nigerian Youth Assembly that will have 5 representatives of the youth from each state and the FCT, form a youth assembly that will now interface. They will be on the states and then come back to us. We're going to work on the details of that, but particularly how to recruit them. We're going to get the necessary approvals, and then we can have that. We already have the Nigerian Youth Parliament, which works with the ministry. That's another platform to be able to engage. And I think through these platforms, we can also disseminate information. We can also get advice, suggestions from our youth. I commit as the youth minister to sustain these various platforms and channels of conversation with our youth, but also to document them and make sure that we have a plan of action as we go forward. Finally, let me just put out a number of takeaway points. For us, there are action plans. Some of them are already operative. First, we're going to make sure that the help desk will be ready in a few days. And we're going to make that information available. Already we have an office we call the Deal Office. That is the one for digital training, the one for employability, the one for employment, leadership, and mentoring. We have a lot of young people working there. We'll create a help desk. We announce the help, and you can call in, you can send WhatsApp, you can send text messages, and you get responses. Secondly, we have 6 zonal offices. Going forward, our zonal offices will be fully activated to form youth forums and youth focus groups on a weekly basis. And we'll get feedback. But more important,
Okay, so I think we have a slight technical glitch there. Please do bear with us. The Honorable Minister should be back any second now. Dear sir, try to unmute yourself again, sir. Are you unmuted? Just a second while we deal with this. There we go, sir.
All right. Can I go on now? Thank you very much. So apart from the help desk, we're going to also launch a chat room. The chat room should be ready in a week. And I'm sure the young generation are quite familiar with the chat room. We're going to launch a chat room. I will be answering questions on the chat room from time to time, but also our youth officers at the ministry will also be on the chat room to answer a few questions from time to time. The fact sheet on the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund will be released today on the website. That is the one that has the youth focus programs, will be released so that on our website, you can see all these programs. And we're trying to get the hot links to the agencies and the departments that are operating this program so that you can simply click on the hot link and then see the information that is available and see how you can actually apply for these programs or be part of this program. We want to say at this point that we know that the profile of our youth is not just diploma holders or the university degree holders. That's why under the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund and other programs, we've decided that we're going to make sure we have physical forms that will be taken around for people to fill. People will be helped to fill those forms. We'll have youth ambassadors and coordinators that will go around. So in the case of NYIF, beginning from Monday, forms will be printed out and taken to different parts of the country so that we can help our youth who are vulcanizers, who are taxi drivers. They're also part of the youth. We don't want to leave them out. We want to make sure that there's a bottom up in this case, because I also saw that somebody spoke to that. I want to thank everyone this afternoon for being part of this virtual town hall meeting. I want to restate government's commitment to making sure that the aspirations of our youth are met. I want to commit to the fact that these youth-focused programs will be deepened. There will be better communication, but also to say that I want to salute once again the resilience and the brilliance of our youth who started the protest, who brought to fore key things in our society, who in a very big way made a statement, and the government has heard you. And the government machinery has since gone to work to make sure that we meet the demands of our youth and we create a better country. Once again, I thank you for participating this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir. Thank you to everyone that has contributed, everyone that has joined. If you have not had the opportunity to contribute, channels of communication are still open. We've reached
I think get this very well.
On Facebook.
Just a second.
Yeah, so we've reached 12,000 on Facebook, and I know the number will still continue to increase. I've shared with us the ministry's website. I've also shared the ministry's Twitter handle as well. Please visit the ministry's website for all our ministry initiatives. You can start to apply immediately. You can start to enroll immediately. If you follow us on Twitter, it's very important that you click the notification button as well. That notification button allows you to receive notifications anytime the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development tweets so that you can be abreast with such meetings and any other thing that there is. Also, follow and like on the Facebook page. The issue of the focus each meeting will have a different focus. So from a lot of the conversations, I've seen that the young people want to be involved in the decisions. So we open the decision of the focus for the next meeting to the young people. So please do visit our Facebook page and Twitter handle to comment what you would want the focus of the next meeting to be about, so we can help to address that particular issue. Thank you so much to everyone once again that has contributed. Thank you to our honorable ministers. Thank you so much. And we reconvene again here next week, Friday. Thank you so much, and goodbye, everyone.